Okay, that was kind of a shot of how Vegas looks from my room. Probably thinking, if I'm in Vegas, why in the world am I shooting a video about more Marvel versus DC characters? When you're in Vegas and you don't drink, you don't smoke, and you've been married for 3 years and you're actually honest about it, there really isn't much you can do in this town. That and my convention today whooped the daylights out of me. So a while back someone asked me to do Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet versus Parallax at the Hal Jordan Parallax. Hal Jordan 0 Hour Parallax to be specific. So Thanos by himself is a ridiculously powerful character. Just throwing that out there. Yeah, and with the Infinity Gauntlet, he's got those 6 additional stones. So he has power, soul, mind, space, reality, and time. All those together pretty much put him at a level above the living tribunal. You know, that puts him pretty much beyond the level of like a god. I mean, in the original storyline, when he got all the Infinity Gems, you know, he had to beat some heavy hitters to get these gems. All because he wanted Death to love him. Ironically, once he got the gems, he had surpassed Death in the cosmic pantheon of things, so therefore he had kind of inadvertently put himself above Death. So, like, I don't know how the angle of this looks, if you're actually seeing like just my mouth or if you're seeing more of my head. That's why I'm somewhat leaned forward. Maybe contrasting that against, after Hal Jordan became Parallax, during the time of 0 Hour, he wasn't supposed to be the initial villain. It was supposed to be Monarch, who was later supposed to be revealed as Hawk. Before the days of the internet, people found out who it was, so last minute they decided to make it the Hal Jordan Parallax character. Now there's been this bizarre thought that during the initial Ion run, Kyle Rayner and Alex Nero fought at the Sun, and the Sun was what actually held Hal Jordan's body. That held the Ion power. Some people have actually surmised that Hal Jordan during the 0 Hour time had the power of Parallax, the Fear Entity, Ion, the Willpower Entity. He also absorbed Extant, who had Wave Rider's abilities. And he was able to restart time pretty easily. The downside, of course, being is you got somebody who has a massive amount of regular energy and chronal energy versus the Infinity Gauntlet, which has space, time, reality, you know, the ability to warp and control the mind, the ability to look into the soul and to actually, you know, manipulate the soul, as well as power, which puts you so high up on the echelon of just physical abilities, as well as amps up all of the additional 5 abilities. Downside, of course, is that the Infinity Gauntlet only works in the Marvel Universe. Once it leaves that universe, except when it went to the Ultraverse that one time, but I'm not even going to bring that up, it actually loses its potency because it loses its connection to the actual universe itself. So that's just all the backstory. So I get right down to it. This fight actually will be done in 2 locations. One in the Marvel Universe and one in the DC Universe. Could I pick a 3rd universe? Yeah, but the 3rd universe would still essentially fall under the exact same sort of scenarios. So first with the Marvel side. And as always, it is the 9 criteria. I have speed, intelligence, fighting ability, strength, durability, I think I already said invulnerability, energy projection, that's just raw energy output, versatility, that's, you know, all the different minutiae you can do with your powers, and then that X factor. It has to be in that last thing that's probably not covered in almost anything else. So the Marvel Universe, speed. For Parallax, he has the ability that he already has the natural, you know, light speed, and he can adjust time. You're comparing that against what Thanos has, which is the ability to control time and space at the same time. That kind of trumps, that gives Thanos the speed. Intelligence. Yeah, Thanos is an immortal, so again for Thanos, fighting ability. Thanos has spent lifetimes, and I do mean lifetimes, fighting, and he's learned from some of the dirtiest players in the universe. Strength. Thanos by himself is a very, very heavy hitter. Once you add in that power gem, he's even stronger. Invulnerability. If you can get past Thanos' force fields, which would be able to hold up to attacks from Galactus, you still have to deal with somebody who again is virtually immortal. The regenerative abilities. You still have two people who have control over time, but again you're dealing with somebody who is an immortal. Energy projection. While Parallax has got a lot of abilities at his control, the sheer raw power output of the Infinity Gauntlet is ridiculous. If you've never read the Infinity Gauntlet story, well, I can't snap very well, but that one little emotion killed half the people in the Marvel Universe. Half. Didn't matter who that half was. Half. That is power. Versatility. You know, when you look at what Parallax Hal Jordan has, he's got a lot of abilities. He can affect the mind and the soul. You know, this is one of those really weird, even X Factor. You know, it's X Factor also ends up falling to. So if these two were to fight in the Marvel Universe, with Thanos wielding that gauntlet, you know, the only way Thanos is actually going to kind of even have the remote chance of losing is the fact he's a Jack Kirby style character created by Jim Starlin, where he won't allow himself to win. That's why the only way they actually defeated him in the storyline is he decided to make himself part of eternity, but the physical body was still there and somebody changed the glove off his hand. But he'd still decimated pretty much the entire Marvel Universe. He just left one person still kind of moving, and it was a slight oversight, but beyond that, he was in complete and utter control the whole time. Now we throw him in the DC Universe, where all of a sudden that glove really won't do anything. It's just not geared for the DC Universe. So again, speed. Thanos isn't the fastest of people, and now he's taking out someone who's got natural speed just from the Green Lantern energies, or the Yellow Lantern energies, who also can currently bend time. So we're looking at Parallax. Intelligence. Thanos is still by far one of the most intelligent people, period. But this is also, of course, before Hal Jordan absorbed Gauntlet. He absorbs Gauntlet roughly, I think it's shortly after 0 Hour, he absorbs Gauntlet. Fighting ability. Again, I'm going to go with Parallax. I'm going to go with Thanos on this one. Strength. Thanos is really strong. Hal Jordan Parallax punched out Superman in one hit. That is raw strength right there. Now we're at invulnerability. This one I have to give to Thanos. You know, for all the abilities that Hal Jordan had with that, it ended up being an arrow that actually hit him. He actually took damage from an arrow. So that kind of lets you know that he's got a lot of abilities, he's got a lot of force fields, but an arrow still punctured his skin. Regenerative abilities. Even though Thanos at this point in time is still an immortal, when you got someone who can manipulate time pretty easily, the ability to recover, you know, if it takes 3 months to recover an injury, it doesn't matter if you can control time. It takes seconds to recover from an injury. Now we're at that raw energy projection. Thanos, on his own accord, very, very powerful. Of course, the person he's taking on now has Parallax, Ion, and Wave Rider's energies. That's a lot of abilities to pull from. Now we're looking at versatility. You've got the ability of whatever Hal Jordan can imagine with enough things to back it up. He essentially was bringing people back from the dead to show that he could do it, and that him restarting time was the right move. So now we're down to that all-important X factor. The most fragile thing that Hal Jordan had at this point in time was his psyche. And Thanos has played mind games with people like the Grandmaster, and he's won. He's played mind games with people like Galactus, and he's won. That puts him in a really, really unique class. So if these two were to fight in the Marvel Universe, that Infinity Gauntlet is so much to try to get around. A lot of people can say, but if you travel back and forth through time, you can pretty easily just go back to before he had the Gauntlet. There's a paradox in that thinking, is because both of them have access to time gems. They have access to time powers. While Hal Jordan can't lose his time powers, it's really hard to steal time travel from somebody else, because at any point in time, if you didn't know about it, and you try to go back in time to do that, the person you're going back in time with could very easily go back in time and stop you. That is the one bizarre paradox of two people with time traveling powers. That's what ruined Heroes. That Infinity Gauntlet is just, it is easily the most powerful artifact when it comes to any sort of artifact in comic history. That is just, it puts you on par with the very beings that create universes. To a minutia detail. You might say that, Hal Jordan was able to restart time. True. But the amount of dexterity you can have with the Gauntlet, you can do anything you want to any portion of anything. Hal Jordan's like, I can bring it back. I can bring back, your parents. I can bring back, your family. Bring back your planets. Where with the Infinity Gauntlet, you could bring back everything and make everyone super happy. You could affect not only the time stream itself, but all the physical components of it. You can make everybody immortals if you wanted to. There's a level of power and of minutiae of detail that you could do with the Gauntlet that entirely surpasses almost anything that Hal Jordan could do. But then when you flip over to the DC universe, the Gauntlet's a non-issue. And Thanos by himself, super heavy hitter. I think Thanos can probably beat the vast majority of people in the DC universe. Just what he's taking out of Hal Jordan is somebody with, 3 different levels of energies. And that is a lot for anybody to try to overcome.